Breaking news update out of Burnet County. Let's listen in right now.
We did recover another one this morning, so that leaves us at 2 missing. And we've kind of split the county in 2 pieces, north and south. One of them's north, one of them's south. The one down south is the chief, fire chief, and it's in a pretty remote area, which makes it hard to get to. A lot of the low water crossings and bridges are washed out down there, so we're having to helicopter most of that personnel in to do that search. I think y'all know we found his vehicle. We've also found some personal items down there. We still have not found Chief Phillips yet. The other missing is someone from the Burnet area. We've located his vehicle. Still have not been able to locate him. Most of that's being done with drones and just boots on the ground. But we're still in active search, and we're going to do everything we can to find the other 2 folks that we have missing. I think there were some questions about how. One of the things I think we need to talk about is the rescues. We saved a lot of lives out there. We talked about the bad part, and we should, but a lot of times we don't mention the rescues. We had 62 rescues. I think that's a hard number. That may change, and it's anywhere from people that are stranded in their attics to people in trees or on the top of their vehicles. But we have had 62 of those, and I think it's important because these men and women are out here working hard, trying to save some lives, and they do. We saved a lot of lives through this process. I think another one of the questions that's been coming up is 911 calls, and between 5 and 6 on 7/5/25, there was 180 calls.
Between 5 a.m. and what?
5 a.m. and 6 a.m. So that's when.
How many calls?
180.
On the 7th?
That was on Saturday?
No, the 6th.
On the morning of the 5th.
The 5th, yeah, Saturday morning. I'm sorry.
And that 62 number also is just Burnet County recoveries. We'll get you the number with those that are from the Marble Falls dispatch area as well.
And you mean 62 people rescued?
That's correct.
Yes.
And 3 are dead? Or 4?
How many fatalities we got so far?
Right now we have
4.
4. We have 4 right now. Well, 2. We're searching for 2. Yeah.
Confirmed.
Yes. Yes. I need to read this part because and probably still leave some folks out. But I just wanted to thank the resources that we have from state agencies to the National Guard, Task Force 2, Texas Parks and Wildlife, LCRA, Texas DPS, all of our local fire departments, all local law enforcement agencies, Llano County Sheriff's Office, all Austin Travis County EMS. We're blessed to have all the assistance. I've met people from all over the country that come in and serve in these instances, and it's overwhelming. I know you hear that all the time, but to actually see it in action is kind of overwhelming. You guys, I also was asked, we asked that the residents and business owners who received damage due to this flooding report the damage to the individual state of Texas assessment tool, and we have that information on our website if they'll go to that. This will help the Burnet County Office of Emergency Management assess the scope and damage of the county in order to determine the various types of recovery and assistance needed. Y'all have any questions?
Yes, Sheriff, you touched on how difficult these searches are. These aren't urban areas where these individuals were swept away and kind of remote. Granted, Mr. Venus driving through over here at Hamilton Creek getting swept off, but I mean, you go back behind there, back by the hospital, it's pretty remote.
Right.
Again, describe how difficult and what you're having to do to get to these areas that you think the bodies may be.
Yeah, this is difficult. It's a hill country, and plus with all the debris that the flood brought downstream, we're having to helicopter a lot of these people in, and with the humidity and the heat, it doesn't take long for these folks to get wore out, and so we're having to shuffle people in, every couple of hours down there.
How long will this continue?
I would love to wrap it up today, but it just depends on, how long it takes us to find these.
I guess my
These
question is,
individuals.
are you committed to finding these people?
Yes, we're committed to finding these folks. We want to find them.
Sheriff, how did the rain this morning impact the search today?
We had to keep some people out of some low-lying areas, just kind of as a precaution. Ended up not really causing any problem, but we didn't want to take a chance with any of our folks that are out there working hard. So any of the low-lying areas, we kept them out of those areas.
Chief, we're coming on the heels of this really big fire last week at this tire facilities. It was an all-call, all hands on deck, I believe is the way that you
Yes, sir.
phrased it during that news conference then. In having to respond that way with so many units and all that, do you think that helped the quick response that we had over the weekend? The teams were already spun up?
Well, possibly. I think, all of our agencies work well together. And, being in the hill country, now we're growing. We're quickly becoming a large county instead of a small one, but we all have to work together out here anytime we have a large, accident or something like that. So I think everybody's used to working together and just falling in.
Sheriff, does the search change at all as the days continue, searching for the missing people? Do you guys change tactics, change where you're looking? How has it kind of shifted from, Saturday morning till today?
It hasn't changed a lot. We've kind of had to do it the same way every day. We're having to helicopter people in. I think some of the low water crossings are getting repaired now, so we might be able to get vehicles into some of these, and so that'll change a little bit. We've used some of the large trucks to get some folks in, but really the search hasn't changed much.
And there's a potential for it to change in the next couple of days with the terrain, how drenched it is. We can't get horses in now. We can't get ATVs in now, but we will be able to get those in within the next couple of days if we quit getting the rain. You asked also about the rain this morning. It was in a different area. It was in Naruna. We took some flooded or closed roadways off of our map and had to put them back. Had to put new road closures on the map because of 3 inches of rain in Naruna. So it's constantly changing, but we're waiting. We've got ability to get horseback. We're searching now with dogs, with foot and drone and air is primarily the key.
But those closures out of Naruna this morning didn't change any of our process up here.
Your closures, I understand a lot of them, there's a lot of bridges with debris and stuff over there. Do you have any bridges that are just flat gone that aren't going to be restored that quickly just by removing debris?
We do. We have a couple of bridges that are destroyed. The Cow Creek one is going to be probably the most difficult because that's on FM 1431, and that's a main thoroughfare trying to get from here to Cedar Park to Austin. We also have one that's on which one was?
Well, we got two on 243 north and south.
Right.
That the TxDOT is working on today. Yesterday they worked on they have one passable for emergency vehicles on 1174 and 1431.
Yeah, I think 1174 is another one that's going to be a big problem for it. It carries a lot of traffic. Park Road 4 at US 281. It's not a bridge, but the road is washed out there, and that carries a lot of traffic for us. So, yes, sir.
Sure. I believe you said one person's body was recovered today. What can you tell us about that person and where were they found?
Yeah, we're not releasing any names at this point. At Travis County actually recovered that person.
Is that our missing teenager?
Yes.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. It was at Cow Creek, but I think Travis County actually recovered that subject.
Derek, can we grab you up front real quick? Name, rank, or share number, who are you, sir?
Derek Marcio, Burnet County Emergency Management Coordinator.
Derek, some of these places are familiar problem spots. I came from the Hamilton Creek Manor residential area. Is it time for the county to rethink these hotspot locations. It's not the first time that that area and that residential area back there. I know that Marble Falls, after the big rain bomb in '07, went and bought people out. Is it time to have that discussion once we're through with this event?
Absolutely. So in the rebuilding process, the recovery process, there are ways that we can rebuild things better instead of waiting on the back end for different types of funding opportunities. So we are exploring those opportunities now. As we move forward and actually get these places completely recovered, we'll be, like I said, we will be making sure we're coming back into a better situation than we went into.
What are the next steps moving forward for the county after sustaining all this damage? I mean, where do you guys go from here?
So at this point right now, we are working with our community partners to train and develop damage assessment teams to be able to go out and actually document the damage, see what the exact needs are, along with working with our county commissioners and the road and bridge crews to identify all of the impacted roadways, bridges, any county infrastructure, private infrastructure as well with those damage assessment teams, all with the goal, of course, of bringing in whatever assistance that we can and being able to rebuild things as efficiently as possible. Beyond that, of course, community support. Next thing, of course, would be agricultural support, especially with livestock. We've started that process this morning. More information to come as soon as that is actually set up. It's been in process for about the last couple of hours to make sure that we have the proper personnel in place to be able to track those damages. Donations management will also be another piece. We're working with the Arc of Highland Lakes for all donations and community support. So they will be the basically the central organization for any donations coming into the county. But at the same time, we ask that anybody who is trying to bring supplies to double check with the Arc of Highland Lakes. Their information can be found at arcofhighlandlakes.org or reached at 325-423-3662. Just so that we don't create the usual secondary disaster of donations. We want to make sure that the donations that we are getting are what is needed. And monetary donations, of course, always sometimes work better, just because we can actually use that money to actually buy the things that we need. And that is also through the Arc of Highland Lakes.
I've seen a lot of volunteers showing up, just people just, like we were at the RV park and people were just showing up ready to help. What do you want to say to volunteers who do want to show up and help, given what you just said about being overwhelmed with donations? What about volunteers? What would you want to say to them?
So at this point, we really do have, I would say, enough public safety personnel who are trained in how to do search and rescue. We would much rather stick to that route so that this way we can ensure the safety of all responders who are conducting these search operations.
Beyond search operations, like these people were showing up to help clean up and clear debris and stuff like that.
At least when it comes to debris cleanup, I guess from that very specific area, realistically, try to leave this to the professionals. And if you are going to help with any sort of debris cleanup, make sure you're checking in with an organization like the Arc of Highland Lakes, who is putting together those types of teams.
So for people watching this, it sounds like the Arc of Highland Lakes is, if they want to help, that's their
That's going to be
stop.
our central coordination point for community resources.
When it comes to emergency alerts, I spoke to multiple people today. So the first thing they heard was people rapping on their doors, rapping on their windows saying, hey, your house is flooding. What sort of systems do you guys have in place?
So we utilize, of course, Warren Central Texas. Beyond that, of course, because of how bad the flooding was, National Weather Service was issuing flood emergency alerts. Those alerts go through the wireless emergency alert system, which is a part of the federal government's integrated public alert and warning system. So those alerts were going out very often for any specific evacuation requests. We were doing that, but mostly we just wanted people not to move. So we did send out a few alerts in the early stages basically to stay off the roads because we knew they were dangerous. We were having a lot of water rescues, especially in the early morning hours of July 5th. With that, basically it was stay home unless you had to flee. That was the message that we were putting out originally. And until everything subsided, that tried to hold true.
With an event like this that's happening in such early hours where people may not necessarily be near their phones, is there any additional steps you could take?
So, I mean, aside from knocking on a door, that's about as far as it goes. Because I know, even like myself, my personal phone goes into, a do not disturb mode for overnight. Now, my county phone doesn't, but my personal one does. So the only advice that I would give, at least in the aftermath of this, is make sure that you have those wireless emergency alerts activated so that at least those can go through, because we can always request for alerts to be sent out through that venue as well.
But a property buyout in these hotspots, just to confirm what I was asking earlier, that is a logical next step, just to get away from like Hamilton Creek. Like, come on, this is over and over again.
It's a definite option.
Could you tell us more about the areas where we saw the most damage and how this compares to previous floods that you've seen? Like, have you had to do 62 rescues in any recent memory?
Well, not in recent memory. Of course, last big flooding event would have been 2018. The sheriff will probably know more about that. I came on board in 2023, so I've read about it, but I don't have the details on hand. I unfortunately didn't have to live through that. However, that would be the most comparable event in recent memory.
And where are the areas where you saw the most damage this time around? Could you be specific?
So this time around, most of that damage has really been across the eastern portion of the county where the heaviest of rains fell. So basically here from city of Burnet on up into the Lake Victor area, on over into kind of east side of Bertram, all the way down 1171, or I'm sorry, 1174, down to 1431.
Sheriff, can I get you one more to wrap this thing up with these rescues?
Sure.
And how amazing these people are. We're talking about 4 confirmed fatalities. It could increase by 2, maybe not.
Right.
But this could have been a lot worse if not for some of these rescues. Can you give me a couple of ideas of what these first responders did and what they found and how they saved these people?
Right, yeah, so I was speaking of earlier is there was, I think, 62 rescues, and it was anywhere from people being in the attic of their homes to being on top of their houses or in trees or on top of their cars. And so a lot of times we skip over that. We don't talk about the rescues, and so this could have been a whole lot worse, had we not had those people out there, these people out there risking their life trying to save lives. And it could have been a whole lot worse. I'd like to talk a little bit about the flood. The 2018 flood was mainly out of the river basin. The Llano River came down like more than this weekend. When we first were talking about this flood or this event, that's what we were talking about, was the Llano coming down. Now the people along the river are kind of used to these things, and they prepare for it, and they were prepared for it. But the separate event was all the rainfall. And in the hill country, a lot of these dry creeks that you see out there, they become raging rivers with the water coming off the hills and all that. So it was kind of a combined, it was almost two separate events that they came together on this. So and I think that's what made this bad. The river, Llano coming down, backed some water up into like Marble Falls and stuff like that. And then we added the rainfall, the runoff from the rainfall, and it was kind of like a perfect storm.
Just one last question. Could you talk about whether you believe this was preventable in any way on a personal level, on a collective level, and what steps the county will take to look into that?
No, I certainly don't think it was preventable. I mean, we had
the death. I mean, sorry, not the weather.
Yeah, I can't control that. So I don't think it's preventable. And like I was speaking, and anybody who's been in hill country very long knows that we get water running through these canyons and stuff, and it's like raging rivers. So I don't know. It seems like these things always happen in the middle of the night, which makes it worse. The Kerrville event, it was dark, and it just seems like it always turns out that way. But no, I don't see how we could prevent it. I don't see how we could put any blame on anything. Mother Nature's kind of hard to handle sometimes. Yes, sir.
Can you share a little bit about how some of these missing folks, were they trying to cross at low water crossings? Were they just out and about? How did some of these people go missing?
Yeah, I two come to mind that I know of. The other ones I don't really know how they got. A lot of time when it's dark like that at night, you can't tell the difference in pavement and water when you come up on these low water crossings and if a bridge is out until it's too late. And so in two of the cases, they just drove right into the water, and we're just assuming that they didn't even know what was there until they were in the water. Anything else?
Sure.
Thank you all. Thanks for coming.
I guess I have one more quick one. Doesn't need to be on record, but are you guys planning on holding another?
And you have been listening to a press conference given by the Burnet County Sheriff Calvin Boyd. He was bringing us the latest update on the devastating floods that have ripped through the hill country in central Texas over the past couple of days. He said that right now in Burnet County, 4 are confirmed dead. 2 people are still missing. One of them, Fire Chief Michael Phillips, and another man from the Burnet area. He said crews did recover both men's vehicles and some personal belongings, but the 2 men have not been found. Now, the sheriff said there were 180 911 calls made early Saturday morning, and over the past couple of days, emergency crews risked their lives to save 62 people. Many of them trapped in their attics, in trees, and on top of cars and homes. Now, they are still assessing all of the damage that was done out in Burnet County by these floodwaters. There are a number of roads and bridges that are impassable right now, and the sheriff says that they probably will be that way for quite a while.